Hey guys, I'm Chewy Mew and welcome to the Chew Nut Show podcast, where I'm going to be playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii in the background while I'm talking about, why I haven't been doing the show for almost a year. And my plans for this show. I put a filter on the game so it looks like it's 32-bit, so it looks like I'm playing on a DS. And, oh sheesh. I guess I'm using a cheat code where okay, I'm going to try not to talk about the game, but I won't be able to not talk about the game. So first let's start off with why I haven't been doing the Chew Nut Show. And the reason for that is because, after we graduated, it was only me to do the show. There wasn't, Andrew, Damien, Kevin, what's his name, Thomas. There wasn't anyone else anyone else to help me with the show, and since, as far as I know, none of us could drive, none of us were able to really communicate or talk to each other or anything like that. So it was really hard to actually get going and do episodes. So there were a couple episodes here and there, which I think episode 5 of season 2? Episode 5 of season 5, I think it was. I think that was the last episode I did, but it wasn't nearly as good quality as like the other episodes. The fight scene in it had to be a green screen fight between me and the Ultimate Wizard, and so pretty much the reason why I stopped doing the show for that point was it was just hard to do stuff, because doing improv with one person, I had to do everything. Everything I did would have to be reflecting off my own commentary, which I don't feel like that would be as funny as, when it was me and Damien or me and Kevin or whoever it was on screen. It just didn't feel as fun as, not only not as fun to make, but not as fun to watch back or even edit, because editing, you're just hearing me say stuff. You're not hearing anyone else say anything. Even if I do other voices and stuff, ultimately you're just hearing me talking, and to me, that just doesn't seem as entertaining. I know to you guys it might be because you weren't there to experience it the first time it happened, so maybe in that regard it is enjoyable, but for me it just wasn't fun. Then I started the first year of college, which that took a lot of my time as well. I did still try to make stuff, but no, it's making content like that is long-term content, or not long-term, content like that, making stuff like that, recording stuff, editing stuff like that was just kind of tricky, kind of hard to do by myself. Obviously I did all the editing and I did all the planning and stuff, but just being by myself, I felt like there was no motivation really to do so. Then I also, another thing, kind of a personal note, I started having insomnia. I started suffering from insomnia, which I would basically, let's say I went to bed at 11. I'd go to bed at 11 p.m. and then I'd wake up at I don't know, 3 in the morning, and then I would be awake for the next 4 hours, and then I couldn't fall back asleep until maybe 5 or 6 p.m. And when I woke up, I felt horribly exhausted because I basically hadn't slept for quite a while, and I felt like garbage, and I couldn't record. I couldn't even think properly. I couldn't even really do anything. So I stopped doing the show in that regard as well. I know it sounds like a lot of excuses, but honestly, that's the truth. Also, then once the COVID-19 thing started, obviously not being able to go places, not being able to go anywhere, do anything, I wasn't able to. I couldn't go to parks to record. I couldn't record in public settings, parks or anywhere. And even if I did, which they closed parks and stuff, but even if I was able to, I'd have to be wearing a mask, and then that would just make the audio hard to hear. And also, since it's just me, there was no one to check and see if the camera was recording. And also, I feel like going to a park to record by myself was just kind of funky. But then also because COVID-19 started, I feel like everyone kind of went through this because the whole COVID thing. I started feeling depressed because of it. I started feeling like this just sucks. I can't even going to Walmart is stressful. Now it doesn't feel as bad, but the whole thing started at first. It just felt very, very not very weird. You can't go to the movies. You can't go to the mall, the stores. You can't go anywhere. either because they're closed or because you just don't want to risk getting the virus, which that made me depressed, not being able to go places. And during that time, I wasn't in school at the time, so after freshman year, I took a break. I didn't have sophomore year yet of college, and nothing in particular, just because the whole insomnia thing, I couldn't really focus, and then because the whole depression thing, because the virus, I wasn't able to really go with. It's not like I really have many friends. Pretty much, like Andrew, Chris, Kevin, Damien. Those are pretty much, honestly, those are pretty much the only friends I have. Sad as it sounds, those are like the only friends I have, and I can't really interact with any of them. So yeah, that didn't help either. Pretty much I only have my mom and my dogs, my bunny as well, to hang out with, and not being able to go places. It feels weird not interacting with other humans, and even when you do interact with other humans, wearing a mask while doing so, just, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like you're engaging with a person. So it just, in that sense, I just made me depressed. There were times when I would just cry and like tell my mom, like, something doesn't feel right here. Like, the world doesn't feel right anymore. I'm laughing because in retrospect, it's kind of funny. Then what also happened is, I think in June, my mom got the virus. My mom got coronavirus. She's fine. She's better now. But that was also a very scary time because we were wondering, like, will she make it? Are we gonna be fine? What's gonna happen here? And we got tested. I didn't have the virus, and thank God I didn't have the virus. My mom had it though, and I honestly don't know how I didn't get it. Because honestly, there's been times where we've gone to like Walmart and stuff, and I would touch like an item, and then I would touch my face, and I don't have the virus. I don't know how I didn't get it, because I would think I would get it, but alas, my mom got it. I didn't. I don't want to get hit by that fish. Sorry, I just had to do that. Sorry. Yeah, so that was a very stressful time, and then so my mom now, she's working from home, which to be able to be with me because she had the virus, and she's still able to work from home. And then another thing, which I know it honestly sounds like a bunch of excuses, but I'm being completely honest here. Another thing that happened is it started maybe in when was it? Maybe April, maybe May, around that time. I started just like randomly parts in the day. I could just be sitting on the couch. I could be playing a game, laying in bed, eating, whatever I was doing. I would just out of nowhere start having like this dizzy feeling. Like, when you're in a car and you drive on a dirt road, or you go over those like the speed bumps. You know how the car shakes and you feel like your body moves around? That's how it felt. I would feel that feeling for maybe like 10, 15 seconds, then it would go away. And yeah, it would just go away after a while. I would also get headaches occasionally, like every it just was completely random when I got it, but when I got it, it was like maybe 15 seconds to like 2 minutes even. Then the big kicker was, which I didn't know, there was one time when my mom and I were in the living room watching a show or something. I was sitting on the couch, and I think she got up from the couch and went into went into one of our rooms, not my room or my mom's room, like another room we have in our house, because it's only the two of us. No one uses that room, So, so I remember her going into that room, and the next thing I remember is her being back on the couch. What she ended up telling me later that night before we were going to bed, she told me, you were sitting on the couch, and you got stiff. You're like, you couldn't move. And then I was talking to you, you didn't say anything, you just nodded your head and stuff. When my mom told me that, I was like, oh crap, this headache, dizziness thing is worse than we thought. And so, as well, for the past few months, we've been seeing my doctor and stuff. He recommended a neurologist to us. I think he knows him, maybe, I don't know. But this neurologist, he's been trying to figure out what's been going on with me. He gave me these pills and stuff, nothing like drugs or anything like that, nothing crazy. Just some stuff that's supposed to help me from supposed to control the dizziness and not migraines, the dizziness and the spells stuff. And as far as I know, I haven't had any for the past couple weeks. The past like maybe 2 weeks. But I I've had to do like 3 MRIs at this point. This other thing called an EEG, which the MRI is where they stick you inside this tunnel, like the place you see, like, you know, if you see like the cancer commercials where you see them putting like the person inside this huge long white tube. And so they put me in that. They didn't think I had cancer, but they just want to see, like, you know, what's going on with my brain. So they use like sound waves and certain stuff that they can take pictures of my brain, kind of like an X-ray except for the brain. And so the first couple ones, they couldn't find anything, so they wanted to do a third one just in case. And actually this Thursday, the 24th, I think, I have an appointment with my doctor to see, like, they're going to try and figure out what's going on with me, you know, trying to figure out what this is. And also because I've been having these spells and stuff too, which they call them spells, because the doctor doesn't want to call them seizures, which this would be an absent seizure, where you, I'm not like convulsing or like spinning around, my eyes don't go back like a typical seizure. It's more of something like, I just don't remember it happening. I get stiff, I make fists, and I don't remember any of it. Thank God I have my mom to comfort me and stuff, but it's kind of scary. And because of that as well, that and the whole, I got all the star coins in World 1. So that, along with the whole virus thing and Insomnia, it's just been so much that I haven't even been able to like make a video like this on the channel. And I'm not trying to sound depressing here, but honestly, that's just the truth. And so also I had EEGs, which EEG is where they scan your brain. They scan your brain they put like these sensor things on your brain, and they're meant to, on your head, they're meant to scan your head. And if like I had a spell or the dizziness, the nausea, anything like that, if I had any of those feelings, it would sense it and read what it is to see like what causes that in my brain. We're still waiting for those results. On my appointment on Thursday, we're going to have that test be done. So I had one in the lab, and since I didn't have any of the headache, spell, anything like that, I didn't have any of those. So what ended up happening is they had to come to my house, and for like a whole 8 days, I had the thing hooked up to my head, and I wasn't able to, hang out too much in my room. I had to be in the living room and be on camera. So like if I had it, they would see what the spell looks like, because at the doctor's office, I've never had the spell. So they didn't know. We described it to them, but they wanted to see it for themselves to know, like, oh yeah, you have this or something like that. But there was nothing that could be found yet. And so on my appointment this Thursday, they're going to hopefully give us some answers, find some solution to this. And so yeah, that's pretty much it with that. And again, my mom wanting to protect me, wanting to keep me safe from, being in public. And if this happens, I'm not allowed to go places by myself, just in case if I get something, I fall down, something happens to me. So in that regard, I understand. And also, since my mom works from home, I'm not really able to, what's it called? I'm not able to, like, record videos. I'm recording this video with my door closed, but if it's like the Chew Nut Show where I'm, like, active doing stuff, I don't want to record the whole show from my bedroom because, let's be honest, that wouldn't work. My bedroom's not big enough to be doing that kind of stuff. Sorry, I peeked the microphone there. But yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on with me. That's what's been going on with me. The stuff that's going on with me. I don't know how else to word that, but so I'm not gonna be depressed. I'm not gonna be depressing this entire video. Let's talk about the Chew Nut Show. So, as far as the Chew Nut Show goes, I do have plans for it. Me and Damien talked a lot about plans and stuff, but that's weird. It says I got all the star coins. I think I have a cheat code activated where I get all the star coins when I start a level. And also, I'm playing this game just because I'm really good at it. I used to be able to speedrun it 100% like in maybe about like 3 hours, which that's pretty good. But I'm just playing this because it's really simple. I'm able to play this pretty good while also talking. And so yeah, let's talk about the Chew Nut Show. So I've talked in quite a length with Damien about stuff that's going to happen in the show, like the whole reason the Grinch is in the show, what's going on with Kevin, the Ultimate Wizard. So I'm going to really quick just first run over the stuff that has been in the show so far. I'm going to start with season 1, and I'm going to slowly, like, explain what the heck is going on in the show. So season 1 is obviously all about me and Damien. So Chewy Mew and Dark Nuts, just, hanging out. And eventually they decide to prank this guy, played by Thomas, who is the Jizz Wizard. Or, as it's going to be in the new version, I'm going to call him the Juice Wizard for sake of, controversy and that kind of stuff. And so that's pretty much season 1. Then you see like images of the Grinch in the background, or the Grinch would appear in random places and stuff like that. But it wasn't really brought up much in season 1 until one of the episodes. So season 1 is kind of in a way set up like an RPG in a way, sort of, where you see me and Damien learning new abilities. Like, he gets the Mega Buster and has the ability to, basically be Mega Man. I get a sword, which is like equipping a weapon kind of thing. So I'm kind of like a melee person, whereas Damien is the guy with the gun, pretty much. And I get a sword. I also am wearing a beanie and one glove. I'm wearing one black glove and a SpiderMan beanie, because I like SpiderMan. And also, on top of that, so at some point in the show, we find like a secret trail, which you can't see on camera because I had no idea how I would edit something like that. So you'd be able to see, like, so me and Damien are basically like searching around the school, and eventually we found this like a treasure chest, and it had a Grinch beanie inside it, and I got the Grinch beanie. And so I say something very strange. I say, whoa, when I got this beanie, I imagine chopping someone's head off, which sounds really crazy, but it was meant to be alluded to the Grinch. As it's a Grinch beanie, it's like, the beanie is made from the Grinch's face, I guess. So the final battle happens. We defeat the Juice Wizard, and you see the Grinch in the background. The final fight of season 1 is actually pretty good looking. And in episode 5 of season 1, you see me, Damien, Kevin, and Thomas all in one scene together. The whole episode is us taking place in the club we were in. We're in the... Crap, I lost my power-up. So, that's the only episode where you see all of us in one episode, because before that you'd see me and Damien in every episode. You saw Thomas in maybe 4, and Kevin was only in, I think in season 1 he was only in 1 episode, which was that club. And so the whole thing with Kevin was, even the name of the email associated with the channel, because you obviously need a Gmail account to make a YouTube channel, the account was called kevinneedstoshit@gmail.com. And it was all meant to be, there was supposed to be a running gag in season 1 where in every episode you would see Kevin, we'd encounter Kevin like, hey Kevin, what's up? And he would say, I need to poop. And because he didn't swear. So eventually Kevin was never able to record. Kevin was worse than Thomas. Thomas was able to record like at least 4 times. Technically he was able to record more than that, but one of the episodes, the original episode 2, ended up being scrapped because I lost the USB that had the episode downloaded on it. I lost it and I couldn't find it in the school. I lost it somewhere in the school, and that sucked, so we had to redo that episode. But Thomas appeared more times than Kevin did. Kevin only appeared once because he was busy with school or something, or he had to go home. So he was only able to appear in a few episodes. Andrew, I know you're watching this, and sadly, you also appeared in only 1 episode. I think, yeah, you only appeared in 1 episode in season 2. You didn't appear anywhere else, unfortunately. I'd love to have you be on the show, but, well, unfortunately it didn't work out that way. But regardless, so that was season 1 pretty much. You get introduced to the character of me and Damien. You see us traversing the high school, basically finding power-ups. I get a sword. We go to a blacksmith shop. The blacksmith is also played by me. And there was a lot of stuff like that. Damien gets the Mega Buster. He gets He gets a beanie or a hat. Oh yeah, he gets his hat that has the Lenny face on it. I get a beanie, the Grinch beanie. I get a sword. I get another glove. And I think there's something else I got. Oh crap, this level lags. I'm gonna have to turn down the resolution. So, also in Season 1, so I also gained, I don't remember how I achieved that. I think it's an upgrade that I buy or something. I don't remember how it happens, but I get the ability to do a Screaming Hyena punch, which is, I guess it's similar to the Falcon punch, except it's a Screaming Hyena rather than a Falcon punch. Oh no, I'm playing horrible now. But, so yeah, a lot of power-ups and stuff. I also, at some point, did a Kamehameha, I think. In Season 2 doesn't really begin where Season 1 started. So Season 1 is meant to be, an episode of a show. Season 2 is meant to be me and Damien. So Season 1 is, the main characters are Chewy Mew and Darknuts. I'm Chewy Mew, Damien is Darknuts. And so, but the thing is, in Season 2, the main characters is Eric and Damien. So, we're not supposed to be, Chewy Mew and Darknuts. We're supposed to be the actors that played them. It's actually supposed to be me and Damien as we are in real life. But so the way we tried making the videos was as if you're seeing, kind of seeing the everyday life of me and Damien at the high school. And so the first episode is me and Damien answering comment questions, which are really stupid questions that I made up. Just because. I don't know, just because. So, and then the second episode was me and Kevin answering comment questions. And the big question at the end of the episode was, did Kevin poop or not? And so as Kevin's going to answer, I'm like, no, Kevin, don't answer, don't say it. And as he's answering, I snap his neck. I snap Kevin's neck. And Andrew was in this episode. And so me and Damien are trying to hide Kevin's body, which eventually we find a place to put it. Or actually, we ask Andrew for help. Andrew tells us where we can put Kevin's body. He tells us to, throw it in a bush behind the school, and we end up doing that. And so the rest of the episodes is basically me and Damien just having fun, goofing around at the school. You see us jumping over fences and stuff. You see a lot of funny, dumb stuff like that, typical high school comedy. Ooh, mushroom. And that's pretty much Season 2 until it gets creepy. Oh no, Yoshi. Come here, Yoshi. Until we get to later on in Season 2 where you start being creepy stuff happen. Like one episode, all the lights turn off in the school and me and Damien are like, crap, we gotta get out of here. And we're running out of the school. And when we get out, we notice Damien's missing his hat and we're missing our backpacks. And so pretty much at the end of the season, in one of the episodes, I'm doing a vlog by myself. Or actually no, one of the episodes before the end is me doing a vlog at a park, which I'm sitting at a bench. It's a park near the school. I think it's a park behind the school, and I'm talking about how originally in the show, and this is all made up. This isn't true to real life. This was just meant to be something in the show. This was something I just made up for the sake of the show. It has no weight. It doesn't mean anything in real life. It's just completely just meant to be something in the show, just a dumb joke in the show, which was. What I said in the video was that me and Kevin came up with the idea of the Chew Nut Show, where Kevin was the main character and I was the sidekick. Or kind of how in the show where me and Damien are both the main characters, but it's in a way it's kind of like my show and Damien is he's my friend coming along the journey with me. Nothing against Damien, but that's just kind of how the show played out, where I have more development than Damien does. And so I basically say in that originally the show was supposed to be me and Kevin. However, Damien, eventually Kevin wasn't able to record because he's a high school genius. He's 12 years old, and he's in high school with us, and so that was the whole thing. And I said that I ended up replacing Kevin. I ended up replacing Kevin with Damien. And so the whole thing is that no one knew this. Kevin was the only one that knew this. Damien didn't know. I was the only one that did, other than Kevin. And so that's why Kevin wasn't in the show. But of course, this is all not true. I just made this up for the sake of season 2's plot in a way. And so then the next episode is me going to the school doing another vlog, and I'm saying like, I'm looking for Damien, but I can't find him anywhere. And eventually I hear him screaming, and I find him tied to a tree. Kevin tied him to a tree, and it turns out Kevin was a ghost, or he came back to life, or something happened, and he came back revenge to kill me. And believe it or not, he stabs me in the stomach, and I die. And as I'm dying, I tell Damien, dude, I can see Mr. Bumpy. And he's like, who the f*** is that? Who's that? Who? And so I say it's the king of hell or whatever. So yeah, and that's the end of season 2, where I tell Damien, honor me by continuing the Chew Nut Show. Finish the Chew Nut Show without me. I may be dead, but, continue on the legacy. And he's like, I will, boy. And so then you see him leaving as my body's dead on the ground. He just leaves me dead on the ground. And also, funny thing is, you see Miss Beard. She was the physics teacher. Which she's probably one of my favorite teachers at that school. Also, Miss Siegel. Miss Siegel's probably my favorite teacher by far at Dysart. I also really liked Mr. Yamas. Mr. Yamas was awesome too. But yeah, so So then I'm dead. In season 3 happens, which season 3 was garbage. I'm going to be honest. Season 3 was the worst season ever. Because, so season 3 was supposed to be a stop motion, where in the first episode, you see Damien making the Chew Nut Show. And it's basically a Mega Man game, except it's supposed to be Mega Man. It's supposed to be as if, so obviously I'm the one making that season, but it's supposed to be as if I'm dead and Damien is making the season, and since he doesn't have all these crazy ideas and stuff, he basically makes a Mega Man game, except all the characters are Legos, which that season's the worst season ever. It's so stupid. And it was supposed to be that Damien made the first 2 episodes, which were stop motion. Oh, so in the first episode, you see him running around with the Mega Buster, and then he steps on the Lego Wizard, which the Lego Wizard turns him into a Lego, and if he wants to get turned back to a human, he has to defeat the 8 Lego Robot Masters, which they're a bunch of weird made-up man. Like there's Hentai Man, I can't remember any of the other ones, but there's a bunch of fake made-up Mega Man bosses, and it pretty much leads to Damien. Originally, I was supposed to make a stop motion where you see the Lego Mega Man, which is Damien as Mega Man, which was called Mega Boy. You see him going through the game. Or you see him basically going through the game. There are going to be jokes and stuff, commentary and stuff, but honestly, I didn't feel like the stop motion was really going to come out good. Because honestly, I'm not too good at stop motion, especially with Legos. So it just looked really bad. I didn't have all the proper equipment for doing so. So I ended up just canceling the show. So what I ended up making the plot of Season 3 was... So the first 2 episodes of Season 3 happened. Then we go to Season 5. Which, I know it sounds crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever. But just bear with me here. So it goes Season 3, Episode 1, Season 3, Episode 2, and then we go to Season 5, Episode 1. In Season 5 of Episode 1, we see Damien doing a vlog saying how he just finished making Season 3. So in the last episode of Season 3, you were supposed to see Damien killing the Lego Wizard. The Lego Wizard turns Damien back into a human, and then Damien takes a sledgehammer and just destroys the Lego Wizard with a sledgehammer to the face. But unfortunately, this happened after Damien was no longer after graduation, so me and Damien couldn't record anymore. So I had to change the story that in episode 2, or in the first episode of season 5, you see the Juice Wizard laying on the ground, and then the Ultimate Wizard just steps on his head and kills him. Then he tries forcing Damien to become his apprentice and help him bring the Grinch back to life so the Grinch can pull an Undertale and do a genocide run, which eventually leads to Damien refuses eventually and the Ultimate Wizard kills him, but it's never shown on camera. So he gets killed, and the way he gets killed will be revealed in a later episode. And so I'm in hell with Mr. Bumpy. We're playing cards and stuff. And eventually the Time Wizard, who Season 1 developed the Time Wizard where... Season 1 created the Time Wizard where the Time Wizard is what saved Damien a couple times. So as you know, in Season 1, Damien gets his arm ripped off by the Jizz Wizard. And so the Time Wizard saves him when he's going to get killed on several occasions. The Time Wizard is also voiced by me because there's not that many people in the show, let's be honest. And I keep saying because I'm trying to think of what I'm saying while also focusing on the game. But eventually we get to... So in Season 5, the Time Wizard keeps telling Damien stuff like, hey, you don't help him, like, don't help the Ultimate Wizard. And eventually the Ultimate Wizard murders Damien. So then we go to the scene, and I think episode 3 of Season 5, I think maybe, I don't remember which episode it is. You see me in hell hanging out with Mr. Bumpy. Mr. Bumpy is this... So there was this show I watched as a kid. I rented the VHS videos from this place called Hollywood Video. I don't know if it's like limited to just Arizona, but oops, it might be, but I don't know. But either way, so I rented this VHS, this like whole VHS series. There was 2 seasons called Mr. Bumpy, where it was supposed to be this like weird green monster thing. So if you watch Season 5, you know what I'm talking about. And Mr. Bumpy, as said at the end of Season 2, is the new King of Hell. Which also, the reason why he's the King of Hell will be explained later on in Season 5. And I'm in hell with Mr. Bumpy, playing cards. We're having a good time. And then the Time Wizard makes me leave hell to save the world. And being the jerk punk that I am, I don't want to help save the world. Hell to save the world. And so I go to the school. I find Damien dead. And I find the Ultimate Wizard. He beats the crap out of me. And then eventually I decide, you know what, I guess I'm going to have to save the world. So the next thing coming in the show is Finding Leroy. So there's going to be a 4-part miniseries in Season 5, like a 4-part saga about going on this quest, again, like an RPG, me going on a quest to find this guy named Leroy. So I'm not going to spoil what he is. It's a creature. He, whatchamacallit, I lost track of what I was saying. So yeah, so I go on the quest to Finding Leroy, and the whole plot of it is, I'm not going to spoil all the details, but basically, you see me going through like a bunch of journeys, meeting a bunch of characters, having RPG-style battles, and eventually, I find Leroy. He gives me an item to help me defeat the Ultimate Wizard. I'm not going to spoil what the item is, because that's supposed to be part of the entertainment. But, so I'm not going to spoil the ending of Season 5, but, okay, let's be honest. Let's be totally honest here. So, as the typical cliche goes, the good guy beats the bad guy. I'm not going to spoil it, but, okay, I'm going to spoil it. I don't beat the Ultimate Wizard. So, one of the episodes is called The Pubic Pool, which the pubic pool is going to be just like a puddle of water in my backyard or something. I lost my power-up again. Nice. And so it's pretty much just, the pubic pool is where the Grinch can be brought back to life. And so the reason the Ultimate Wizard wants to bring the Grinch back to life is because the Grinch is basically a person that's going to kill everyone. So the Grinch is basically the Undertale genocide run. And there's going to be references to that. And the Grinch gets brought back to life. I know this does sound like a spoiler, and honestly, it is a spoiler of me saying, hey, Season 5 ends with the Grinch coming back, and then Season 6 is about the Grinch. And I know that seems like a spoiler, but okay, let's be honest. The Chew Nut Show, being what it's meant to be, being a super crazy meta show, it's obvious the Grinch comes back to life because the whole show has basically been building up to this point where Season 1 sets up the Grinch as just having a bunch of weird cameos just for fun. Oops. And Season 5 has the Grinch finally appearing for the first time in the whole show. And so the Grinch finally makes his appearance in Season 5. So in Season 2, actually one of the questions in Season 2, one of the comment questions is, why did you make this show? And so I actually did a re-edit of the episode where the question is, why did you make this show? And then Damien gestures to me like you answer it. And what I did in the re-edit is I zoomed in on on Damien's hands, and I put a picture of the Grinch there. It's supposed to be, the whole reason I made the show was because the Grinch, and ultimately, yes, the whole point of the show was to make the Grinch, like, make a story basically about me, I guess, fighting the Grinch. And the whole reason I chose the Grinch out of all the characters in the whole world is because, so as a little kid, my mom and I would go to yard sales to find, like, you know, cool stuff that we could buy at yard sales, you know, just because, pretty much. One of those things I found at a yard sale was a Grinch from the 90s, or not, the 60s cartoon, like the original Grinch movie. And that was pretty much like, when I got that toy, I don't know why, but I loved that toy so much. As a little kid, I always was super creative, and I would use toys in different ways than they were supposed to. Like, also, before I got, like, you know, Green Goblin, Venom, like, before I got Spider-Man villains, when I played with my Spider-Man toy, I would use Power Rangers as the Spider-Man villains. Like, I'd use a green Power Ranger as Green Goblin, or I'd use a yellow one as Sandman, and like, you know, stuff like that. And so the Grinch, I basically made up this story that the Grinch is called Super Grinch. And in that show, he was a good guy. It was like a fusion of Spider-Man and the Grinch. And that was supposed to be, like, the cool thing. And eventually, he was supposed to be, like, yeah, a mix of Batman, where he's, like, he's crazy rich, he has a bunch of gadgets, but also like Spider-Man because he had spider sense. Pretty much that was the only way he was like Spider-Man. And his name was Peterson Grinch. Very creative. I drew this like Robin kind of mask, like a black mask going around his head. I put this bandana thing on his waist to make it look like he had, like, you know, a martial arts belt. I gave him gloves, I gave him boots, I did a bunch of cool stuff like that. Oh, oops, crap, I almost ripped my controller out of my PC. Oops. Oh dear. Is it working still? Okay, it's still working. Oh, thank God for that. So yeah, that's pretty much the inspiration for putting the Grinch in this show. And so I don't know why I chose to make the Grinch a bad guy, not a good guy. It was honestly more of a joke. But as time went on, I was like, you know, I'm going to make an actual plot with the Grinch. So season 1, even season 2 have mentions of the Grinch. But it's not until season 6 where you actually see the Grinch for the first time. And when you see the Grinch, he goes on genocide. It's basically the Undertale genocide run where he just murders everyone. But as well, without spoiling any other, like, you know, big ideas I have in the show, I'm going to be talking about my ideas for the show and what plans I have. But I'm not going to spoil, like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, like, so-and-so does something, or something like. I'm not going to spoil, like, big plot points. I am going to talk about stuff here. Like, also another thing from my childhood. So I have, like, there's, like, 4 things from my childhood that, like, are huge things in my childhood that, like shows, as far as I mean, like, stuff like that, like, content. So those 4 things are Mega Man, which of course is the inspiration for the Mega Man, because for one Halloween I went as Mega Man, which is how I had the Mega Buster, the Mega Man costume, the helmet, all that stuff. That's because that's why I have the Mega Man costume, because Mega Man, I originally got an NES. That was my first video game console. My dad gave it to me. And so I always had an NES. And the only games he had was like Duck Hunt and Mario. I think he also had Mega Man 2 or something. But I didn't want to play Mega Man 2 until I played Mega Man 1. Eventually, I got all 6 Mega Man games for the NES. I got 7 for the SNES. And then I got Mega Man 8 for, I think, the Sega Saturn. Or I don't remember if it was PlayStation 1 or Sega Saturn. Either way, I got those games, and I loved Mega Man since I was a little kid. I still love Mega Man to this day. Another thing that I love is Sailor Moon. So the way I found out about Sailor Moon is, I think in like 1st grade or 2nd grade, I saw this girl at school that had a Luna backpack. Luna is Sailor Moon's cat, which I don't know why the name is in Spanish if they're speaking Japanese. That's kind of strange to me, you know? But yeah, so I love the show Sailor Moon. And the girl had a Sailor Moon backpack. I didn't really care about the girl. I just was curious, like, that cat looks cute. Where's it from? And she was like, oh, it's from this one cartoon. Because I guess she didn't know what an anime was. She called it a cartoon. And she said, oh, it's this one cartoon that my sister, her sister I guess was older. Her sister watched it and she liked it too. And so she had a Sailor Moon backpack. And so then I was like, oh, hey, that sounds cool. Then one time, when my mom and I went to Hollywood Video again, a video store where we got VHS and DVD and stuff where you could rent them. And so I rented, I think the entire first season of Sailor Moon over time. It was the dub, which the dub, compared to the original version, the dub sucks. They censored a lot of stuff. They took out action scenes. They changed the plot to make it really stupid. And, you know, the typical stuff that dubs did in the 90s with anime. But I loved the dub. I thought the dub was awesome. Eventually, I ended up watching the subbed version, which is so much better. So much better in every single way. And so, yeah, that's... And one of the other things that I've always loved as well is SpiderMan. So the first SpiderMan content I engaged with was SpiderMan, the first movie, SpiderMan 1. And so one time what happened, my dad brought home SpiderMan. He brought home SpiderMan 1. He rented it from the video store. It was VHS. And he also got a pizza from Little Caesars. He brought a hot and ready pizza. And when he walked in the door, this was before Spider-Man 2 was released. This is like 2003 maybe. And he brought the pizza home, and he said, "Pizza time." Like, that was the thing he would say. Like, he would say, like, movie time, or, like, bedtime, nighttime, morning time. Like, he said that a lot. And so one of the things he said was pizza time. And as if you may know, one of the memes from Spider-Man 2 was pizza time. And that movie came out in 2004. But he said that in 2003, before the movie was released. I'm not saying he inspired that to be said, but... I just love that he said that, which wasn't in the movie, it wasn't in any Spider-Man movie until 2004, and he said in 2003. I just thought that was an awesome thing, and so watching that movie, I had a lot of memories. I'm very nostalgic for that movie, but the more and more I've watched the movie over time, I've noticed, like, so many crazy details. I love the dynamic camera movements, I love the character developments, I love all the lighting, I love the very campy comic book 60s era storytelling, the way they frame stuff looks just straight out of a comic book. The characters act just like the comic book counterparts. The way they frame shots, the way the crazy camera movements work, the lighting, everything looks just like a 1960s era comic book. And that's beautiful. I love the trilogy for that. It introduced me to Spider-Man. It's just beautiful series. I love that series. So another thing I'm going to start doing in the Tune Up Show, I'm going to start implementing a bunch of references to the Raimi trilogy. I even love Spider-Man 3, despite how controversial that movie may be. But one of the quotes I will give you that I don't know if it's in season 5 or 6, but one of the quotes I say is, "Who am I? Are you sure you want to know? The story of my death is not for the faint of heart. If someone told you this was a happy little tale, if someone told you I was just your average ordinary corpse, not a care in the world, then somebody lied. This story, like any story worth telling, is all about an element, that element," and the camera would show oxygen. The element on the table. The element I liked since before I even knew about elements. I'd like to tell you that's me next to it. And then we see nitrogen. And then I say, or heck, I'd even take that one. And then you see, what's it called? Acetone, or some poisonous element. Then I say, no, that's me. And then you see my corpse all blue from lack of oxygen laying there on the ground. And then I don't remember where I put it. I put something as well from the trilogy, like from Spider-Man 2. I put another reference. So that's supposed to be like a reference to the trilogy, which sounds like the quote Peter says at the start of Spider-Man 1. And I just think it's beautiful. And there's going to be other times where I reference that trilogy in the upcoming seasons and upcoming episodes. And the reason is just because how much I love this trilogy. That's why I want to like reference that in what I'm making to make it feel like, I don't know, I just love that series, so I want to, like, in a way, honor it for all that it did for me by introducing that. And obviously, Season 1 had the whole Mega Man costume and stuff like that, which that also is a big reference to, obviously, Mega Man. And Sailor Moon hasn't really been referenced too many times in the show. There is one reference to her where, in Episode 2, I'm wearing a Sailor Moon shirt, and that's kind of really all that you see of Sailor Moon in the show, but I want to introduce more elements of her to the show, like, in whatever way I can. I want to do that in some way. The other thing I want to do as well is I want to have like a lot more goofy scenes, like a lot more crazy camera movements, not like, crazy camera... I'm gonna start that sentence over. I don't mean like crazy camera movements like you see the camera spinning around or something like that, but I mean you'd see, like, if there's, like, me and, say, the Ultimate Wizard talking, you would see the camera showing my face, and then you'd see it showing his face. So it, like, more editing, so it looks more like an actual show instead of just looking like, instead of it looking just like you can see the camera with all of us. I want to make it seem like there's cuts, like there's edit stuff here and there between the scenes, and I feel like that way it'll make the show look less boring, where you just see a bunch of us standing around talking to each other, which I feel like season 1 and season 2 had a lot of that. There wasn't many like edits and cuts, stuff like that. So yeah, I want to add those things. I want to do those things in the show because, like, also another thing which, you know, for the longest time growing up, like in pretty much even in high school, the teachers always ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And everyone says, like, you know, fireman, doctor, police officer, veterinarian, stuff like that. And what I would always say is veterinarian. But truthfully, which I never realized until like maybe a year ago, what I actually want to be is a director. What I want to be is a director or screenwriter. And because that's always been my passion. That's why I love the trilogy so much. Even as a little kid, I always noticed stuff that I feel like most grown-ups didn't even notice in that movie. That's why I love Sailor Moon, because all the development of the characters, the campiness, the goofiness, along with the heartfelt moments, to me, that's beautiful. Mega Man doesn't really have that, just a game that I really love, and that's why I like that. But that's why... But, like, even since I was a little kid and I would play with my toys, my action figures, whether it be Power Rangers, SpiderMan, Ninja Turtles, whatever it was, I would always play with them in such a way that was, like, it wasn't just a matter of, oh, here's Spider-Man, here's Venom, pow, 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 Spider-Man wins. It wasn't a matter of that. It was, like, there was a story to it. There was a plot that was happening. There was, like, stuff going on that wasn't just as simple as this. And also there was a fake thing I made, like a fake, it wasn't even real. It was like a fake, like a pretend TV channel that I had where I was the director, I guess, of these shows, that I was the one that created these shows. Like it was, I played them as if it was a show. Like, even sometimes I would tell myself, like, in the next episode, you'll see Spider-Man doing blah, blah, blah. Or it'd be like, so it was like pretty much like a show I made where I made up my own Spider-Man show. I made up Super Grinch, my own version of Ninja Turtles, on Power Rangers, Batman, whatever toys I was playing with, I would basically make up my own stories. And I would basically be playing my own movies, my own movies, TV shows, and I played them. I didn't play them as if it was just like just toys. I played them as if these were like actors that I was, by playing with them, I was like directing them. So that's always been my passion. But as a little kid, I always said veterinarian because I loved animals. But as I got older, I was like, I don't want to be a veterinarian. I want to be a director. That's the whole point of doing the Chew Nut Show. Well, not to like a resume builder, which it could be used as that, but it's more a matter of, it's like unleashing my passion in a creative form, which to me, that's really cool. I just always been into that. That's always been my passion. And that's why I want to go to Huntington University, which they do like cinematography related stuff. And if I'm not a director, I'd want to be a screenwriter, which a screenwriter is the guy that writes like what happens on the screen. It's like, yeah, like he writes the screenplay, which is basically like the play form of what the movie is. Like the character says this, we see this on screen. Kind of like a play, except instead of it being a play, it's like a movie or video, TV show, whatever it is. And so that's what I've always been into. And so the Chew Nut Show is kind of my way to express that creative form of how I want to, you know, create content. Although, so the show so far has been mostly improv. And that worked really well because there was always me and Damien. And sometimes it was me, Damien, and Kevin. Sometimes me, Damien, and what's his name, Thomas. But eventually we got to a point where now it's only me in the show. There's no one else. It's just me. And I doing improv with one person. I don't really know enough about I don't really have much improv skills to be actually able to do actually fun, genuine content and keep it going with it being just me. So what I feel like the show's gonna develop into is me. I'm not gonna write like a whole script. Instead, I'm just gonna create. Instead of writing a whole script, I'm gonna make it like I'm gonna put like scripts, or not script. I'm gonna be like, okay, at some point in the episode, I'm gonna use these 3 lines, and what these 3 lines are gonna do is they're going to be part of the story. Like, the whole thing I said, like the who am I, are you sure want to know, blah, 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 about me not breathing. That's like a scripted thing that I'm going to say at some point in the show where, that stuff happens. So I'm going to have more plots prepared for the show, because pretty much the episodes are basically, I don't know what we're going to be doing, so let's just be goofy, and then I'll edit in a way that seems fun. But unfortunately, it never really panned out that way. So ultimately, the show's going to have to change to be more like that. So that way, for me, it'll be more fun recording and more fun for you guys to see it. Which I really hope it actually comes out entertaining. But, we'll have to see. So after I beat this level, I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to make a part 2 right after this, because I have a lot more stuff I want to say. And I want to say it before I end up forgetting. So, that's going to be all for this part 1 of the Chewy Mew podcast. But I will see you guys in part 2. Wow!